Hey there, everybody. How is it going? You're the late people that are joining me tonight. We are live on Local 12's Facebook page. Couldn't get it on my page for some reason. No idea why. But I think we're live on YouTube, on both Local 12's page and on my page as well. Yeah, my page has just got that little spinning wheel of death for some reason. Can't seem to stream to my page for some reason, but I did share it. Local 12's live stream. All right, we got some new model data in tonight. I just wanted to give you guys an idea of what we're looking at, what we might expect. This is not going to be a huge snow by any stretch of the imagination for the tri-state, but it does look to be a pretty significant one as far as timing and giving us kind of a mess on the Friday morning drive. We got some snow out there tonight. Some of you are certainly seeing that snow tonight. So if you are seeing the snow, let me turn this down. I'm going to monitor your comments here on Facebook. If you are seeing some snow, let me know where you're located. Let me know what you're seeing out there tonight. Also, let me know where you're checking in from tonight. Hello to Tammy. Hello to Mary, Casey, Pam, Shannon. All watching tonight. Andrew, Lewis, all checking in tonight. Thank you for joining us tonight on Facebook and on YouTube. This is an active winter pattern for us. Make no mistake about it. We've got these parade of low pressure systems coming out of Canada. They're following the jet stream. We call these clipper lows because these things move in a hurry. They clip along at a fast pace, named after the old clipper sailing ships that were able to get from place to place very quickly. Well, that's what these are named after. And they come out of Canada, they move along, and they produce quick little swaths of snow. Well, we're going to see one after the other, from now through around December 21st here, bringing snow at times into the tri-state. And so we're right on the storm path for these things, and that's going to mean some active winter weather for us. We've got some snow falling tonight in the tri-state, some areas east of town getting in a quick dusting to a covering, maybe close to an inch in a few spots to the east and southeast of Cincinnati tonight. And then the next system arrives tomorrow night, Thursday night into Friday morning. That looks to bring a 2 to 4 inch accumulation for most parts of the tri-state. There could be some areas southwest of Cincinnati that see a little more. Areas to the northeast of Cincinnati may see a little less, but that's kind of up in the air, and I'm going to talk about that coming up. And then Saturday, another system could impact the tri-state with more accumulating snow. Models have been trending higher on the totals there for Saturday. So, hello, let's see, going through the comments here. Yes, Kimberly says got some snow in Manchester, Indiana. Love Manchester. Tim says he's on Earth. Welcome to Earth, Tim. Glad you can join us from Earth tonight. Amy in Lynchburg tonight. Got a little bit of snow coming downtown, some snow on the ground in Dillsboro tonight, so thanks for letting me know about that. All right, let's talk about what we have going on right now. There's this low pressure center that's up in Canada, north of Montana there. That is going to kind of scream out of Alberta, up near the Calgary area. That's why they call these Alberta clippers so often. And it's going to push out of Alberta and be right over us by tomorrow. Already snow breaking out ahead of it there in places like Omaha, some flakes near Kansas City. We've got a little snow coming through here, part of a fetch of moisture that's coming off Lake Michigan tonight. And that's been kicking off some scattered snow showers. You can see them through Butler County, through portions of Warren County, Waynesville to Lebanon right now, getting in on some snow. Little burst of snow coming through, a little heavier now, say around Anderson Township and into the Pierce Township area. And you can see out around Owensville, we've got some Mount Orb seeing a little snow tonight. And some down there around Georgetown, Ripley, Manchester, Maysville. So you get the general picture of where that snow is located tonight. There's the big view of those snow showers pushing through the tri-state. Again, they'll put down some minor accumulations tonight, mainly north and east and southeast of Cincinnati. So, yeah, it's not a big deal. You can see on our graphic right now, Oxford reporting some light snow with a a freezing temperature and just cloudy in Wilmington right now. So it's a little bit of snow, a little touch for some of us, but I mean, that could make for some slick spots on the roads. So just be wary of that overnight into tomorrow morning. Some flurries tomorrow, nothing major. We're only going to get up around the freezing mark tomorrow, so temperatures remain pretty cold. And again, that's a look at some of the snowfall that could be on the way by early Friday morning. This just after midnight has anywhere from 2 to maybe 3 inches of snow falling. I'm going to show you some more of those models in a second. First, let's start with the morning drive tomorrow. Some flurries in the forecast tomorrow morning. Yellow light up due to the possibility it could be a little slick in spots with temperatures in the 20s. And then tomorrow afternoon, maybe some flurries flying here and there. We'll get up around freezing, but, no big issues in the afternoon tomorrow. It's tomorrow evening that we begin to see that snow moving in, so some flurries initially, and then by late evening is when we start to see the snow picking up, and especially after midnight. So let me show you one of these models. This one holds the snow off a little later in the evening on Thursday, so it doesn't have anything until maybe after 10. Some other models are a little bit quicker with all this, but we're going to use this one because this is a pretty reliable model. Picks up the snow after midnight. Notice the heaviest sets up southwest of Cincinnati, lighter to the northeast of Cincinnati, and then it starts to move it out in the pre-dawn hours of Friday morning, some lingering flurries, maybe getting a little bit of a mix to the south of Cincinnati as it ends, maybe some sleet or a little bit of drizzle down there, but that's the general picture. So from late Thursday evening through, say, mid-morning Friday is when we're talking about most of that snow falling. So here's one of our models that shows hardly anything. And this model is not so reliable. I wouldn't trust it, but it shows less than an inch in our northern counties up there. And it only shows about an inch, inch and a half in the south. I've kind of thrown this model out. Don't think it's a great representation of what might happen. This one's a little bit better. This is the American or GFS model tonight, showing about an inch in the far north and, maybe close to 3 inches in the far southwest. And here's another model. This is the King Euro. This model tends to be one of the more reliable ones. It's showing about an inch in the far north and east, maybe less than an inch for some, and it's showing about 2 inches in the far south and west. Okay, a lot of different things to look at. Here's the NAM model, on the other hand. It is showing about 2.5 inches in the north and about 4 inches in the far south and southwest. I usually don't do this on TV. I don't like to show all the different models, but since we're here streaming tonight, I thought I'd give you a sneak peek under the hood at just some of the data we look at here. Finally, here's a different solution altogether. This is the HER model, the high-resolution rapid refresh model. This kind of flips the script. This shows some 4-inch totals in the far northeast, up around Wilmington and Hillsborough, and it shows lesser amounts in the southwest, maybe about 2.5 inches from Vevey to Williamstown to Maysville. So you see, it's not easy forecasting snowfall. The reason that this model is showing less in the far south and west, which is the opposite of some of the other models, is because it's mixing some sleet and a little rain in there in the far south and west. The storm system is coming a little more north on this particular model than on the other model. So there's a wide range of solutions still, with the snow only being 24 hours out. The models are kind of all over the place and what might happen here. But when you take everything and some of our blends, some of our other data, this is the human forecast I came up with. Looks like 2 to 4 inches for most. I think that's a safe forecast for most areas. If you're going to see less than 2 inches, it's probably going to be in the far north and east. If you're going to see more than 2 inches, it's probably going to be in the far south and west, where there could be some isolated 5-inch amounts with this system. So that is the current forecast. Now, the Weather Service tonight came out with the winter weather advisory for most areas. They left out those northern counties. They left out Fayette, Union, Butler, Warren, Clinton, and Highland counties. And they didn't leave you out because you're not going to see snow, but they left you out because of some of those models that show maybe an inch or less of snow up there. But then they're looking at the models that show over 3 inches, and we're saying, well, we'll have to reevaluate this as new data comes in. Maybe you guys get added to the winter weather advisory eventually, depending on that new data. Maybe you don't, but you certainly are in line to get some snow up there. It's not like you won't get snow, but the Weather Service for now has left you folks to the north out just due to the uncertainty of exactly how much snow is going to fall. Winter weather advisory starts at 7 o'clock Thursday. It's going to go through 10 o'clock on Friday morning for those areas. So this, in a nutshell, what we're looking at as far as road conditions. They could be a little slick tomorrow morning in spots east and northeast of town. Shouldn't be a big problem tomorrow morning, but it's late tomorrow evening. We begin to see that snow moving in. And then Friday morning will probably give us the biggest trouble with that morning snow beginning to push out of the area. But then there's another system on Saturday afternoon and evening that could potentially bring more snow and keep some slick conditions around into Sunday morning. And that's when we see the bitter cold air begin to move into the tri-state. Let me talk about that Saturday system. There it is, arriving, say, mid to late afternoon, and then into the evening, spreading a quick shot of snow over the tri-state, and then that one looks to exit pretty quickly early Sunday morning. And obviously, if we don't have the track down on the one that's 24 hours out, we're not going to have the track down on this one. But the snowfall amounts have been trending up in our latest models. This is the European model again, and it's showing a good, 2 to 4 inches of additional snow over the area going through Saturday afternoon into Saturday evening. So, yeah, there could be another one on the way there. I want to show you the 10-day forecast here because the one thing I didn't get to talk about is the bitter cold air coming. So we've got the evening snow back tomorrow. We've got the morning snow Friday. There's your travel troubles coming late Thursday night into Friday morning. And then more snow developing Saturday afternoon and evening, pushing out very early Sunday morning. So more travel issues are possible during that time. And then you look at the bitter cold air. Sunday's high, only around 14 degrees. The low, 4 degrees with fresh snow cover potentially on the ground there. Wind chills, they're going to be sub-zero on Sunday. So it's not the freezer bowl, but boy, that Bengals game looks really, really cold on Sunday. And then we could even get colder by Monday morning as the winds go lighter there, maybe dropping to around 0. That's kind of an average of what the models are showing between below 0 and single digits is kind of the range of solutions right now. But the wind chills, they're definitely going to be below 0. And then we get a little warmer on Monday, getting back to around 23 degrees, and then we'll warm above freezing. It looks like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of next week. Maybe some rain moving in that Wednesday, Thursday time frame. But I would say, late Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning, there could be a little ice there. So that's something we'll keep our eyes on. We may start with a cold ground and below freezing there as that moisture arrives late Tuesday night and early Wednesday morning. So that's another thing that we'll be watching. But for now, again, it is really the snow that we're watching going into tomorrow night. I want to show you one more time the modeling on that. And let me see if I can show you. Let me see if I can show you the high-resolution rapid refresh model, if I can load it. Let me back this up. So that's 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. Snow approaching. This model's a little faster, but the leading edge of that likely won't be reaching the ground. So it probably wouldn't be until later in the evening, say after 9, that we would begin to see the snow. So this model is a little faster with the snow tomorrow night pushing through. It picks it up, has some of the heaviest snow just after midnight around 2. And then notice, this is the model that has the heavier amounts in our northeastern counties. And the reason for that, you see that pink that shows up there by around 6 o'clock on Friday morning. That is a little warmer nose of air coming up aloft that could change some of the snow to sleet in our southwestern areas. And even some rain down there in the far south where you see the green. So it's interesting to note that this model has that slightly bigger push of warmer air coming up from the south, which would kind of change the equation altogether here. So this is this is interesting to see, and we'll have to see in subsequent runs what it does. But it also moves it moves everything in faster. It moves everything out faster. So let me kind of back this up here. You can see, after 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, everything's gone, starting to push off quickly to the east there. So that's just one model solution. And then here's the other one, the European model. Again, that is a little slower on the onset of the snow. That's 10 o'clock. It's still not here. And then it's after 10. It pushes through. And notice it doesn't have any sort of mix, any sleet or rain. Well, maybe a little touch there of a mix at the end, but it doesn't show as much warm air. So I think that's one of the reasons you're seeing, some of the differences in what the models are showing. And again, just to give you kind of a peek of what we see when we look under the hood here with our modeling data. And I don't like to show all these on TV, but since we're on the streaming platforms, I'll give you a peek. This is one model called the graph model. Not always very reliable. We've kind of thrown this one out, but it does show less than an inch for Cincinnati and only about an inch or so for the southern counties. I just don't think that's going to happen. This is the GFS model, the American model. Shows about an inch for the northern counties, maybe close to 3 inches for the far southwest. So that would be a 1 to 3 inch snowfall event, which is pretty typical of these Clipper lows. That's not out of the question at all. European model is very similar, although it shows a little less, showing about an inch or maybe less than an inch in our far northeast and about 2 inches, maybe 2.5 inches. In the far southwest, maybe getting close to 3. So again, this will be about a 1 to 3 inch snow on the European model. And again, that's not the latest run of the European model. That we won't get that till later this morning. This is the NAM model. This perhaps looks a little more reasonable, showing about 2 inches in the far northeast and about 4 plus in the far southwest. Maybe you squeeze out a 5 down there. And then with the HER model, that's the one that shows some sleet mixing into the south. So that kind of limits the totals in places like Vevey and Williamstown and Maysville. Shows Cincinnati with about 3 inches. But then it has the heaviest totals, ironically, in the place that doesn't have the winter weather advisory. It's got about 4 in Wilmington and Hillsborough, almost 4 in Connorsville, and over 3.5 in Hamilton. So you can see here that snowfall forecasting is kind of a difficult thing when you look at all these different models and, the subtle differences in the tracks of the system. But that's what the Weather Service did for the winter weather advisory. They've left out Fayette, Union, Butler, Warren, Clinton, and Highland for now, not because you won't get snow, because there's some uncertainty up there. So they want to wait because, if they issue a winter weather advisory and you get an inch or less than an inch of snow, probably not a good thing. But if they see stronger trends that you're definitely going to see impactful snow, they'll probably add you folks to the winter weather advisory. I get why they did what they did. I totally get it. I totally understand. They're looking at those global models, the European and the GFS model, the American and the European model, kind of relying on those, saying, oh boy, those are showing some interesting stuff here with less snow to the north. So I get what they're doing here. I understand why they've done that, but let me just say, don't be surprised if you folks get added into this advisory in the north here eventually. So that's something we're going to be watching, guys. But boy, oh boy, it's just after 12:30 early on a Thursday morning. I want to thank you guys for hopping on with me. I hope I gave you guys a little more information under the hood, so to speak, under the weather hood, to show you some of the stuff we look at here. That I think is fascinating in the differences in all the modeling. We also use a blend of models, and I can't show you it on this version of the software I have, but I'm hoping to update the software so I can show you that blend of models. The blend of models is exactly, what it sounds like. It takes a lot of the different numerical models and kind of blends them all together to give kind of a smooth solution as to the snowfall. But bottom line is, we're going to get some snow. It doesn't look like it's going to be a huge snow, but, it's going to be impactful for the Friday morning drive. There's likely going to be some school closings and delays, depending on how this sets up, at least in parts of the tri-state Friday morning. And then if you have plans Saturday, especially late afternoon, Saturday evening, and Sunday morning. That's another one that you want to pay close attention to. Tara Blake is going to be along at 4:30, 4:25 technically is when they get started for Good Morning Cincinnati tomorrow morning. So she's going to have more on that. And God bless Tara. I want to send a shout out to Tara. She's working all this weekend because birthday boy Paul Poteet has taken off this week. He's off all weekend. So Tara's going to be working this weekend, and she was scheduled to be off on Friday as her normal weekend day, and then again on Monday as her other weekend day. And she's going to come in and help out and help cover the snow on Friday. Ann Campolongo, our newest meteorologist, local gal from Loveland, she was scheduled to be Tara on Friday morning. Well, now it looks like Ann's going to be out in whatever snow we have. They're gonna send her out in the snow. So I told her some of my best memories at Local 12, 15, 20 years ago, were covering snow and being out in the snow and having a good time and doing that for Tab Hedrick. So she's going to be out covering some snow, be out in it wherever it happens on Friday morning. Tara will be here in studio. And then we'll give Tara a few days off next week, and Paul will fill in for her again. So, when you work in the weather industry, the TV weather industry, your schedule is all over the place. And I'm off on Friday, so Eric is in for me on Friday. I won't be here Friday because I'm headed down to Tennessee for a soccer showcase, college showcase with my daughter down in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, which is ironically where my sister-in-law lives. And ironically, I was down there for a weather conference in Middle Tennessee last weekend. So 2 trips to Tennessee, 2 weekends in a row for me. But anyway, I just wanted to let you know we've got our whole team here covering it, and we'll be keeping an eye not only on the system coming in for Thursday night and Friday, but the one also coming in on Saturday, and the potential of some ice next week too. So it's a lot. I think we only need a couple inches of snow to be the snowiest December around here, I think, since 2012. So this has been, pretty special December for us. A little light snow reported at the airport now with a wind chill of 22. So cloudy in Falmouth now, it looks like. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening to the ramblings of this old meteorologist. Yep, I'm seeing snow reported there in Lebanon now, too, at the temperature of 30. I want to thank you guys for hopping on with me tonight. Again, I hope it gave you guys a little bit of insight as to what's happening. And I'm going to go home and get a little sleep. Hope you guys can get some sleep, too. Tara Blake tomorrow morning. She'll see you bright and early, 4:30. It'll be Eric DeBroca, I believe, at noon tomorrow. And Ann Campolongo starts out a coverage at 4 o'clock tomorrow. I'll be around at 5 o'clock, and I'll be on the social media before then, too, looking at some data. I'll be looking at things as soon as I wake up tomorrow. Anyway, have a good night, guys.